Hello everybody, this is another one of my album ranking videos, and today I'm going to be ranking the studio albums of Deep Purple, but the albums from the Mark 1 lineup. So this is the first three albums by Deep Purple, because Deep Purple have had so many different lineups. You've got the Mark 1 lineup, which was the first incarnation of Deep Purple with Rod Evans on vocals. And then you have the Mark II lineup. Rod Evans was fired from the band, and Nick Simper, the original bass player, he was out of the band. And then Ian Gillan replaced Rod Evans. Roger Glover replaced Nick Simper, and then that was the Mark II lineup. And probably the best Deep Purple lineup, in my opinion, and probably most fans' opinion. And you also got the Mark III. There's so many different lineups, but I'm going to be ranking the albums from the Mark 1 lineup. So there's only three albums from this lineup. This is their first three albums, so basically all their 60s material. I love all these albums, but my least favourite out of the three is the self-titled album, Deep Purple, from 1969. It's a great album, but it is my least favourite of the three Mark 1 era albums. But there's some great tracks. Chasing Shadows is great. Bird Has Flown. Blind. Fault Line. Not a big fan of April, the closing track. But yeah, it's not a bad track. It's just not my favourite. But yeah, it's a good album. It is a good album. It's difficult with these two though, because these two are almost equal for me. Number 2 is Shades of Deep Purple. So this is the debut album from 1968. This is fantastic. It's got Hush, One More Rainy Day. They do a cover of the Beatles' Help. Not quite as good as the Beatles version, but it's still a good cover. They do a really good cover of Hey Joe, which is fantastic. They do a cover of the Cream song, I'm So Glad. Mandrake Root is another great track. So yeah, fantastic album. Which leaves me with my favourite album from the Mark 1 lineup of Deep Purple is Booker Taliesin. So this is their second album, also from 1968. And yeah, there's great tracks. Listen, Learn, Read On, Ring That Neck, Kentucky Woman. And they do a fantastic cover of We Can Work It Out. Like, different from the Beatles version. This one's more progressed. This one's more like a prog song. Like they turned it into a prog epic. River Deep, Mountain High. Yeah, it's just so many great tracks. I mean, there's only 7 tracks on here, because that's the thing with the Deep Purple albums. They didn't actually. A lot of their albums didn't have that many songs on them. Like a lot of their albums would only include like 7 or 8 tracks. But yeah, so yeah, it's a great album. That's my favourite from this lineup of Deep Purple. Eventually, I probably will rank the Mark II albums. But unfortunately, I don't own all the albums from the Mark II lineup. I've got Deep Purple in rock, I've got Fireball and Machine Head. But I also do need to get Who Do We Think We Are, Perfect Strangers. I think there was a few more after Perfect Strangers with the Mark II lineup. But yeah, I'm more familiar with early Deep Purple, so like Mark 1 and Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4. And then they broke up after that, but then years later they got back together and the Mark II lineup reunited. But from then on, I'm not really as familiar with the later stuff. I need to probably get more into it. But yeah, I do love Deep Purple from their original run, from 68 to 76. But then, of course, they reformed in 1984, and I'm only really familiar with like Perfect Strangers and Slaves and Masters, I think was another one. But yeah, I need to hear some of those albums. But yeah, But yeah, I will do some more Deep Purple videos, because I definitely want to rank the Mark II albums. And spoiler alert, but in rock, Deep Purple in rock is my favourite from the Mark II era, and my favourite Deep Purple album in general. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this short ranking. I know it was really short, but it is only just it's only 3 albums here, so... But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon.